Welcome back everyone to another ESO build video. Today is going to be the update to Malcolm, the Necromancer tank for the Flames of Ambition DLC. Now the design for this tank is mostly for dungeons, mostly for off tank. You can use it in trials, but you need to be a little bit experienced for that. But the idea is to build ultimate as fast as possible for you and your group. Now in the past, this has been changed now twice, quite drastically, because some of the skills were altered, which meant some of the sets didn't work so well. People thought that this build was dead. Far from it. This is actually now in a very, very good place. It's actually chunkier than it was before and can still build ultimate really fast for you and your group. So everybody wins. So if you want to see some more of this, you want to see this massive chunker throwing out shapes, stay tuned, it's going to be explained. So first of all, we're going to go into the stats. We're going to put a potion on, make sure our resistance buff is on. Yes, you saw a slight spoiler there, not going into that. 13.3k max magical with 1k, almost 1.1k recovery. That will go up if you get buffs and bonuses, and we're not really too focused about that anyway because we're going to have really good recovery on top of what you can't see here. 5.5k max health, which is massive. He's a huge chunker with 22k stamina. Crits don't really matter because we're not really utilizing them. We do want to make sure we've got a resistance buff on though. 32.6k across the board. We are cap resists if we get a minor buff. We are 1k from cap resists if we don't. In fact, less than that. We're 400 away. So we are very good in that area. We are actually sitting on 49.5% resistances, and the cap for resistances as they stand is 50%, depending on the type and depending on your buffs and debuffs. Now, health is 64 points. Obviously, if you want to bring this down a bit and have some more stamina, you can. You can crack out 30k stamina, no problem, and bring your health down. You'll still be just fine, but we don't really need it. We're stage 1 vampire on purpose. Yes, I know that puts the cost of things up, but we need it. And we are, of course, using the Lord Mundustone to buff the crap out of our health. If you want to increase your stamina with a Mundustone, magical with a Mundustone, or any of your recoveries with a Mundustone, of course you're welcome to do that, but we are using some abilities that do scale off of our max health, so the more we've got, the better, and we don't really need to wiggle any of our other stats in the situation that we're in at the moment. This will actually be fine throughout, but the choice is actually yours as far as that's concerned. As far as food is concerned, however, we are using flat stat food. Max health, max stamina. Nothing else. We are using tri-stat pots that will give us recovery for all 3 resources, and it will give us a boost to all 3. Our potions are going to be used a lot. So get some resources, start making those pots, or just buy a load, whichever. It's entirely up to you how you get them, but make sure you have lots and lots of potions because you are going to need them. We're going to go into the skills. I'm going to explain how this all works, why they're chosen, where they come from, what to morph them to, and all that good stuff. And then I'm going to obviously demonstrate their application later on. But this is designed this way on purpose. No, I didn't miss anything. No, I don't need anyone sweeping up behind me saying, why don't you do this instead? This is designed this way on purpose. If you want to alter that, it's your choice, it's your game. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. But this is the way that I'm presenting something that I've created for you. Hopefully you enjoy it. But everything's going to be explained. If you want to skip it, you're more than welcome to. Now, necrotic potency, very simply put, this is in the Bone Tyrant skill line. This is quite far down. This is the 3rd one you unlock. Actually starts off as Bitter Harvest, morph it to necrotic potency. I said we are built to generate ultimate very fast. This is mental. Basically, if there's a body on the ground, you scoop it up. You basically take their soul out of the body. And you gain 6 ultimate and heal for 2 seconds. And it's scaled off your max health. Remember, we have max health really high. Great. And while slotted, we take 3% less damage. This ability is free and wins all day long. Heals based off max health, reduction to damage taken, and scoops up ultimate off of dead bodies. Now, each one that you actually scoop up will increase the duration of that heal. So the maximum you can take with any buff or debuff of that type is actually 6. So if there's 6 bodies on the ground, including your pets, you can actually get 36 ultimate back, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it. That's in 1 tick. Now, that will mean that you'll actually have 12 seconds of heal over time, not 2. But just bear in mind, if you do scoop corpses up again, the timer that you have remaining will be deleted and it will make a new one based on how many corpses you scooped up. So if you pick up 6, you got 12-second heal over time. If you pick up 1 afterwards, your 12-second heal over time is gone and you've just got 2. So just bear that in mind if you are utilizing it for the main heal, but essentially this is an ulti filler. This massively fills your ultimate. If you've got a group of people killing stuff, if you've got stuff that's going down like your pets or whatever, all of that combined is going to benefit you. You can build ulti for days. And this is just step 1 of how to build ultimate. This is going to be even higher than that when we get further into the passives and such. Next up, more ulti regen. This is a switch out ability. You don't have to have this, but this is why I highly recommend Vampire Stage 1. You can actually go 3, but that's going to nuke the cost of all of your abilities, including your ultimates. You don't want to do that. Exhilarate and Drain. This is in the Vampire skill line. This is the third ability to unlock. Starts off as Vampiric Drain, morph it to Exhilarate and Drain. This will actually do magic damage, which is not that good. But while channeling for 3 seconds, you will heal for 23% of your missing health, which is huge because our health is massive. So any health missing, we get constant ticks back based on the missing amount. And we generate 4 ulti every 1 second for 3 seconds. So that's 12 ulti over 3 seconds. Plus, if you light attack or heavy attack, which you should be doing anyway, you get 3 ultimate every second for 8 seconds, since the last one will actually start the timer again. And then you've also got up to 36, depending on how many bodies are on the ground, every 1 second if you're lucky. This is bloody stupid. Combined, you can build your ulti up very, very quickly, but bear in mind you can't block while you're using this skill. It's a channeled effect. But you can block to stop it running. So you can take a couple ticks out of it and stop. Take a couple ticks again to stop. Watch your magic, obviously, because you're going to run out eventually if you do that too often. But this is very, very handy. And if you use that in time with your potion popping, you can actually get your bars back quite quickly and utilize it for longer. Just bear in mind, of course, if you're about to get heavy attacked by something, you need to be blocking. So utilize it in windows of opportunity, not just all the time. So swap out wise, you've got one major option for this, and that's actually in the grave. No, it's not. It's in the Bone Tyrant skill line. Get your words right. Starts off as Death Scythe, morph it to Hungry Scythe. This is very simple. This will actually swing in front of you, and you'll heal based off hitting the first enemy, and then each additional enemy will give you a heal as well. A little bit less, but it will give you multiple heals. Obviously, the bigger the crowd, the bigger the heal, and it'll heal you over time as well. And this is scaled off of your max health. So if you don't want to use this as a long-durated but very strong heal and ulti regen, you can of course just spam this a little bit as a safety button. The choice is yours. You don't have to use Exhilarate and Drain. You don't have to be a vampire if you don't want to be, but this is very, very useful if you can master the build. Next up is our main Taunt. Very simple. If you're a tank and you have a sword and board, this is the first ability you unlock. You stab the target, it now wants to hit you. That is how you generate aggro in this game. It's not like other MMOs over the last 20 years where you have an aggro counter where people can out DPS and pull it off you and all that kind of stuff. You taunt it, it wants you. Do not let this run out. If you let it run out, it'll run across the room and smack somebody else in the back of the face. Very simple. Apply it, don't let it run out. You can reapply it on top of it. Don't spam it, obviously, but let it last about 12-13 seconds before you reapply it and you're all good. Also, this does apply a massive debuff. It applies Major Breach and Minor Breach. Now, over the last few patches, this has been altered somewhat, and it used to be a lot less effective than this, and Minor never really used to be on there either. Minor used to be 1320, and Major used to be 5280. So that has now gone up, and has done for a while. So it's now 5948 for Major, and it's 2974 for Minor, giving us a massive amount of penetration debuff into the target, so their resistances are now 9k less. That is substantial to your group because it will make them do more damage. Do not let your taunts run out. Next is our pull ability. Yes, we technically do have a pull ability in the Necro skill line, but we're not going to utilize that because we want to control it. The one that you could take advantage of, we're going to get to because we do use a resistance buff. That one can actually be a little inconvenient in some situations and pull stuff that you don't want to pull. For example, the twins in VMOL, you might be pulling the wrong stuff if you choose to take it into trials. Depends on how experienced you are and how well you can receive the build or even use it, if you know what I mean. So this is actually going to benefit us quite a lot also for ulti building. So this is the first ability in the Fighters Guild skill line. Starts off as Silver Bolts, morph it to Silver Leash. This will shoot the target and pull it to you. 22 meter range, pulls it to your feet, nice and simple. But there are some passives here that are actually going to benefit us later on for ultimate if we get lucky. So bear that in mind. This is on the front bar for that purpose. We're going to come back to it later. Next is Expunge and Modify. This has got lots of different benefits to it, but above all, this is your Cleanse ability. And this is from the Live and Death skill line. Second ability to unlock starts off as Expunge, morph it to Expunge and Modify. This will remove 2 negative effects from you and restore Magicka and Stamina for each effect removed. So if you are dotted at the moment or got a debuff on you, or a couple of them, and you activate this, it will cost you health, which we've got an abundance of, and in return you'll get resources back. So if you have 2 negative effects, that's 1,000 back for both bars. If you constantly get affected by stuff and it keeps reapplying it on you, you can borderline spam this. Depends on the situation, of course, but keep an eye on your buff timers. Also, while slotted, the cost of all your abilities, this is very important, the cost of all your abilities is down. Now the main ultimate on the front bar. This is a swappable for 3 different things. So, starts off as this. We're going to go with Ravenous Goliath because this is mental. Anyone that has fun with a Necromancer as a tank is obviously going to be using this at some point in time. This is your oh shit, we're all going to die button. Or just, hey, there's nothing really going on, why don't I act a bit beefy? This is in your Gravelord's, no it's not, this is in your Bone Tyrant skill line. Starts off as Bone Goliath, morph it to Ravenous Goliath. This actually unlocks at level 12 of this skill line. So if you're a new player, you can get this very, very early on. As you can see there, you grow into a massive behemoth and you gain 30,000 health. Also, you restore 30,000 health. So if you were on, say, 10k health right now, you're about to take a big, big hit. No, you're not. You just healed as well. But this will give you a stupid amount of health and it will turn your light attacks into a restore health ability. So if you do light attack stuff, you'll get health back. If you heavy attack, you'll get health back. And you actually deal magic damage in area of effect to enemies every second, and you heal off of that as well. And all of this is based off of your maximum health. I'm going to demonstrate that in a moment once we get past the passives and gear, but that's absolutely mental. Once I get to the application of the build, I'll show you what this actually does. Yes, of course, if you built for just health and nothing else, you can get much more. In fact, you can get between 112 to 120k on a Necromancer quite easily. But I'm going to show you what this build, as a working design, actually does. Now, the other ultimates, of course, are very straightforward. You've got the Sword and Board skill line, so one hand and shield. Shield Discipline starts off as Shield War, morph it to Shield Discipline. You block for free for 8 seconds, and you can run around at full speed. You get your stamina recovery, the lot. Everything that you can normally do when you're running around like a headless chicken, you can do, but you're blocking. And your taunt, or all of your one-handed shield abilities, are free. Very, very handy skill, really good in oh shit situations, and you can heavy attack from underneath it. So if you're really, really low resources, pop this, throw out a couple of heavy attacks, you're back in business. However, the amount of ultimate that we can generate, you can actually activate this over top of itself. No, you don't really need to do that, but we can. So that kind of stuff puts you in the situation where you can take advantage of this as a free blockable and then still build for another ultimate while you're doing so, just in case you're in trouble. It's not this or nothing, it's this, recover while building for another one from underneath it. It's very, very handy indeed. But if you don't need that, of course, this is amazing, it's really fun. But here is Animate Blast Bones. The reason we want Animate Blast Bones and not the other one is because this will resurrect 3 members, yes, of your group, and this is built for group content, so mostly for dungeons, arenas, that kind of stuff, but you can use it in trials if you're experienced. There's nothing in the game it can't do, it's just not designed for that. Now, when this picks up 3 people, or if you cast this on 3 dead bodies, even if they're not players, it will summon 3 Blast Bones up. So you fired your ultimate instead of scooping up the corpses, or maybe you scooped up the corpses to be able to use the ultimate. So you scoop up the bodies, you cast this, you've got no ultimate left. The 3 Blast Bones aren't really there for damage. They're there because they create a corpse each as well. Now your I don't have any ultimate left is now 6 ultimate per corpse, and you're back in the game. You can use a very expensive ultimate and still get back up really, really fast. So this version of it is chosen on purpose for that reason. So the front bar is Ravenous Goliath, Animate Blast Bones if you really want it, or if all shit hits the fan too often, block ulti. Now, back bar, Spirit Guardian. Yes, you can see what that weapon is. Do not panic. No spoilers just yet, I'm getting there. This is in the Living Death skill line. This is the 4th ability to unlock, starts off as Spirit Mender, morph it to Spirit Guardian. This is absolutely broken, to be fair. It's really, really strong, but for this particular build, it's just got a bit stronger. So this will actually channel a heal at you, or the lowest ally in your group. And with it being made for dungeons, there's only really 4 of you anyway, so that's not too bad. The odds are someone's going to be kept alive, rather than in a trial situation where it might go for the stupid person that keeps standing in stupid, while everyone else needs a heal and they just keep messing it up. This will heal you or them. And it will heal every 2 seconds. It's like a tether, like a beam It's very, very strong. It does also have an extra benefit to it. 2, actually. 1, if you take damage, 10% of the damage goes to the pet. So, even if we're in Goliath mode and shit tons of health, the pet still takes damage for us. It's like a built-in guard. And finally, it drops a corpse. If it ends, or if you recast this when there's about 7 seconds left on it, it will drop a corpse. Because it's been recast, it's dead, whatever. And you can then scoop that up with Necrotic Potency. More ultimate. Very, very handy. Do not let this run out if you can help it. Not only is it a good heal, but it's also a good damage mitigator overall. So while we don't have block mitigation in our passives, which we haven't gotten to yet, for the Necromancer, you do have damage mitigation because this just sucks it all up. Very handy indeed. Summoner's Armor is next. This is in the Bone Tyrant skill line. This is the second ability to unlock. Starts off as Bone Armor, morph it to Summoner's Armor. This will give you Major Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance to 5, 9, 4, 8 for 20 seconds. Now, also, while active, this will reduce the cost of Blast Bones, Skeletal Mage, and Spirit Mender by 15%. So as you can see here, this costs 449 at the moment. So if I activate this, while it's active, this now costs much less. That's very important. Make sure your armor is on first before you cast this. Anyway, while it's active, also, the buff will persist, but when it falls off, another corpse will land. Also, same rule applies to this. If you recast this while it's got about 6 or 7 seconds left, not before, you will actually drop the corpse early. As you can see there, there's a body behind me. And again, yes, you can scoop it up. So if you have this running and this running, and they're both about to run out, and you recast them both, this one first, this one second, unless it's already running. 2 lots of 6 ultimate from stuff that's already running. You don't even need to kill anything yet. So in a single target fight where there's no ads, maybe there are no ads, whatever, you can use your res ulti to make 3 people on the ground that you've already took ulti from place 3 more bodies, and you can make these place bodies as well. So you've got constant ulti regen without even channeling this. It's nuts. Inner Rage is our main taunt on the back bar. The reason it's on the back bar is because we don't have any room on the front. You can change stuff if you want, but this is built up for a very specific reason with certain passives in mind. However, starts off as Inner Fire in the Undaunted skill line, morph it to Inner Rage. This will taunt the target from 28 meters away. So if it's a ranged target, it's not quite coming to you. You can't reach it with a chain. You can pull it from long range with a taunt, and it will run to you. Unless it's a ranged target. If it wants to shoot you from range, it will still stay at range if it can reach. If it can't reach you, i.e. you move out of range once you've aggroed it, it will come to you until it can. So if you want to pull in range targets that can't be pulled by a chain or won't move unless you get out of their range, go backwards, 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 let them come to you, and then come back forwards again, meet them once you've made them stand where you want them to. That's a little more advanced on the taunt side of things, but essentially this is a ranged taunt. Players can also take a synergy from this, which will tick and tick and tick, and then boom, big explosion. Very handy. Don't miss a synergy if you're a DPS watching this video, by the way. If you know anyone using this build, pay attention to that. It's quite nice. Now, the next ability is a flex slot. You don't have to have this exactly like this, but it's a choice. It's entirely up to you. Agony Totem is here. It's a 4th ability down in the Bone Tyrant skill line. Starts off as Bone Totem, morph it to Agony Totem. Very simply put, this puts minor protection down on the ground for you and your friends, and it will actually stun the enemies in area of effect. Now, if they've already been chained in and they're still CC immune, obviously that won't stun them, but it's got a bit of a duration on it before it actually does that. So 9 times out of 10, once you've pulled everything in and then popped this, they're usually off that anyway. And there's a synergy attached to it. But if you don't want to apply this, you don't want the minor vulnerability from it, you can, of course, use something very, very useful, and that is Empower and Grasp. This has a very short timer on it, but what this does do is this will immobilize enemies in front of you, which is really bloody handy, and after the 4 seconds is over, they will be stunned for 3 seconds. So this is immobilize and a stun all at the same time. So that duration is actually quite long in comparison to this. But this is more of an emergency stun and protection for the group, while this is an immobilize, then stun, and then minor maim to the enemies and empower to allies. Your pet will be stronger, your friends will be stronger. This is basically your Gallonway. It will increase their light and heavy attacks by 40%. Which means if you are running easy Sorks, they just got boosted to hell and back. This I would recommend over this, but this is a very nice oh shit protection buff if you need it. Overall though, Empower and Grasp is nuts. Just make sure you're aiming it at the group. So a very easy way to apply that is basically if you are taunting the boss and standing here, and your friends are behind here, don't aim it over there. Aim it at the group. Easy peasy. Now, next up, we have reverse slice. I know, right? A two-hander on a tank? What the hell? Do not block big heavy attacks on this bar. I cannot make that any clearer. You may survive a bit more than you usually would with the new champion point systems and the massive increase to max health. But 9 times out of 10, if anyone tries to block a big heavy attack from bosses in trials, dungeons, whatever, if it is designed for the tank only, and you don't have the block passes from your sword and board or ice staff on that bar, which we do not, you will die. So this is a very situational skill to use. It's only when the enemy's low health. It will make more sense when we get to the gear, but this is here for just those moments. Yes, of course, we've got this back bar for these abilities. We don't stay there very long, but make sure if you're blocking the big stuff, you are on here. Lots of bad tanks don't know that. This is fun. This works, but don't block on this bar if it's a big one. Get to that bar quickly and hold your block. Anyway, now the serious stuff is out of the way. The fun stuff. Reverse Slice starts off as Reverse Slash, then a two-hander skill line, 4th ability to unlock. This is very simple. You activate it, and you do physical damage to the target. Now also, at the same time, this will do splash damage to all surrounding enemies. Are we built for damage? No, not really. Are we going to do a lot of damage? No, not really. Are we going to contribute when they get low health? Most certainly, yes. This is going to be very, very nice for us just to help the group, especially in big trash pulls. But when we get to the gear, which is coming up after the passives, you will see why this is a very important skill for this build. You're going to have ulti for days. And if you already know where I'm going with this, shh, it's probably a live premiere right now. No spoilers for people that are trying to keep up. Now, next up is Glacial Colossus. This is your main ultimate overall. If you want to go Goliath, go nuts and have fun. If you want to res people, do so. If you want a no shit button, go mad. But this is the main reason we're here. This is why it's called Malcolm. This is Malcolm. Malcolm is a big flesh Colossus. This is in the Gravelord skill line. Starts off as Frozen Colossus, morph it to Glacial Colossus. This makes a massive, massive flesh Colossus jump out of the floor and punch loads and loads of enemies 3 times, dealing frost damage. The last smash will stun everyone in the vicinity, and the enemies will have major vulnerability applied to them, so everyone will hit them for more damage. They will take 10% more damage once this dude has punched them. And it will last for 12 seconds. You used to have a vulnerability and invulnerability stage. Now it's just fire it. If you fire another one, then obviously you just start the timer again. The main purpose for this build is to be able to use this as much as possible. And we can. I've had a block ulti running and then still built almost enough ultimate to get more than half of this ready. By the time I've come out of it, I've almost got it done. Depends on the situation, depends on what's going on. I will get to that in the gear, but this can be built up wickedly fast. Make sure you spam the shit out of it. So, now the important stuff. Passives. Pay attention. This is very important because it gets the cost of your pet down by 50% after the first one has been cast and dies, or is recast. If it dies or is recast, that counts as the same thing. Just bear in mind, of course, we have got the cost down from this already. So have this active. That's cheaper. Make sure you cast the next one quite soon. That's cheaper, and so on and so forth. Reusable parts actually stays with you throughout the whole instance if you're in one, so keep it up. Once you've done it once, it stays with you for pretty much the whole thing, unless you die. These are not important. We are not a DPS. So the 25% health and under, we get 10% more crit chance, depending on what bar we're on, based on how many of these we have slotted. We don't have any apart from on the back bar, so it's not really that important, and we're not built for crit anyway. Will it help us during execute while we're smashing this, if we have the chance to do so? Yes, but we are not built to kill the target. We're built to take advantage of execute. We don't want it dead. We want it low. That's it. So the group can get it low, and we'll take advantage of that. That will make more sense later. This one increases your physical and spell pen. For us, it's not important. An ability has to be active anyway, and the only one we're going to have active is a Glacial Colossus, and it doesn't really last long enough. So again, this is a bit poo for us. And this increases the damage done with damage over time effects. Still, again, we're not really utilizing much of that at all, so there's no point. If you are trying to build this very, very quickly, you want this passive, dump the rest. If you want them for the sake of it, then sure, go for it. This is important, by the way. When you have a Bone Tyrant ability slotted, whenever an enemy you are in combat with dies within 20 meters of you, 28 meters, sorry, you restore 200 magicka and stamina. Remember I told you have magicka regen like hell? We do. Because all that takes is for the group to kill stuff, or you, and you will get stuff back. Even if you're blocking, that stamina will return. And both bars, we actually have an ability from this bar slotted. So that's important. This will reduce the damage you take from damage over time abilities while you have a Bone Tyrant ability active. We have a resistance active. That's going to help us. Increase your healing received for each one slotted. 2 on the front, 2 on the back. Very nice. And increases your max health because it does. Get that. And the healing skill line. While you have a negative effect on you, your healing done is increased. So while we do have a negative effect, we could cleanse it and get resources back. You could also make it stay on you on purpose, so the heal from this and this is stronger. Your choice. Pay attention to mechanics, decide which way you want to go about that. While you have a live and death ability slotted, your critical strike chance with all healing abilities is increased by 20% to proportion of the severity of the target's wounds. So the lower your health, the higher the crit chance for your heals from this skill. So your pet does get affected. When you use an ability on a corpse, you generate 10 ultimate, and this can happen once every 16 seconds. So if you use this on a corpse, or you res someone with a res ulti, you will get 10 ultimate back. Once every 16 seconds, that big boost is very, very nice. And while you have a Blast Bone, Skeletal Mage, or Spirit Mender, your pet, active, your magicka, stamina, and recovery is 200 higher. So remember at the beginning, we put the potion on, we put our resistances on and all that good stuff. And we had 1083, false. Put the pet on. 1343 and 1291. Our recovery is mental. That obviously wasn't shown at the very beginning, but I like to leave stuff for you to find out later. Now, the rest of the passives are, of course, very, very important. The two-hander skill line is important for us. We do want to get the cost down and all that good stuff, but it's entirely up to you how you go about it. Light and heavy attacks obviously do splash damage. That's nice. If you want it, get it. If you don't worry. We want it for the skill, not necessarily the rest of it. Grants a bonus to the weapon type. Now, we're using a sword, which increases our weapon and spell damage. So we are actually benefiting from a bit of extra damage on the bar, if you want to do that. Axes are quite nice. They increase your critical heal and damage, but we don't have very high crits, so there's actually no point. And maces increase your armor penetration. Again, we're not really built for damage, but if we're going to get anything out of anything, we'll take the flat weapon and spell damage, because that boosts other stuff anyway, if we were to hit on that bar. So you want the sword if you can help it. This is important because it does reduce the cost of the skill. This is probably the most important for us. You do want this one. When you complete a fully charged heavy attack, you might want that for sustain, who knows. Your next direct attack within 7 seconds deals more damage. So if you heavy execute, you will hit harder. Again, that's hit and miss. And this one increases your stam recovery by 30% for 10 seconds after killing the target. If you do get a kill, your stam recovery will go up. These are actively quite good when you're in combat if you want to do loads of damage. For us, we only need the resource reduction to cost, because while it might be nice to kill stuff, and I'm not going to take that away from anyone, of course you will get kills, we don't really want the kill. We want the low health to take advantage of this. As long as other people are killing it, it's all good. So you can choose to take this passive here and nothing else, or you can just get the lot and maybe you want to change stuff out later. Sorting board, get every single one. This reduces the cost of all the abilities and gives you block mitigation, reduction to cost even. This increases the weapon damage and block amount on that bar, so the more damage you can block. Weapon damage for that particular skill line is not that important, but obviously this comes with it. This increases the standard bash attacks and you deal more damage and costs less stamina. This will increase the damage you can block from projectiles, and this will increase your movement speed while blocking. Note, if you're using the block ulti, this isn't affected because you move at full speed anyway. We are using nothing but heavy armor. Full out heavy. You have benefits and penalties here. They are designed this way to make you feel like you're in very heavy, clunky armor, but at the same time, they're made to make you feel like you're very tough. Yes, you will take more damage from magic type stuff, but physical stuff you are very, very strong against. Your bashes are stronger, and you reduce damage taken while immune to crowd control. So if you break free from a stun, you're really hard to kill. You've got loads of different bonuses here. You can read through them in your own time, but just be careful when dodge rolling because it does cost a bit. Now, this will increase your resistances across the board per piece. This will increase your health recovery and the amount of magicka and stamina you restore while taking damage once every 4 seconds. This will increase your maximum health. This will increase the stamina and magicka return, depending on the weapon type, when you heavy attack. So the more heavy armor you have, the more you get back from your heavy in terms of resources. Pay attention to off balance, because if you knock something off balance at any point in time, or your group does, heavy attacking will give you double resources back, and this stacks with it. And increases your healing received. Very nice. Not using any other types of armor on purpose. If you want to change them, that's up to you, but we are deliberately not. We are a vampire. We are taking advantage of stage 1, so you want the sneak passive. This is helpful in March of Sacrifices, pretty much nowhere else. And we are able to take advantage of this skill. Fighter's Guild is actually important for us. We don't need Circle of Protection because we have that built into our totem if we do choose to slot it. But this will reduce the cost of Fighter's Guild abilities. This will increase your weapon damage on that bar, which is not important. But if you've got a Fighter's Guild ability, each one is worth 3%. But this is important. If you kill an enemy, and you might, while on this bar, so maybe you drain it to death, maybe you stab it to death, maybe a Goliath is running and the damage over time is killing adds, whatever. Or your Colossus might kill stuff when you swap bars. If you kill anything, 3 more ultimate back. That is only why you have a Fighter's Guild ability slotted, by the way. If you have it on the back bar, it doesn't count. Undaunted is important. Every single synergy you take will give you 4% of your resources back. That's a massive heal, by the way, if you're in Goliath mode. And each type of armor you wear gives you 2% increased resources across the board. Yes, of course, if you wore 3 different types of armor, you would get 6% max health, magic, and stamina. Mag and Stam is fine for us. We don't need the extra boost. We don't really want to mess with our passive because it will alter our heavy passives and plus light and mediums and mess everything all up. And the health bonus will be the same. Because if you take away 2 health bonuses from the heavy armor, that's 4% missing. If you put a medium on and a light on, that's 4% back. We lose resistances and gain the same amount of health. It's a waste of time. Some builds might benefit from that. This one doesn't. We're a Nord. Surprise, surprise. Frost resistance is fucking huge. We're way over what we need to be on that. Very nice. We also have 1k max health. We have 1.5k stamina. And if we're in combat and taking damage, we gain 5 ultimate once every 10 seconds. And we have physical and spell resistance flat out. We're actually almost capped resistances because of this bonus without any reinforced gear whatsoever. If you decide to go Imperial, you will get more health, you will get more stamina, you won't get the ulti regen, you will get 6% reduction to cost, and you won't get this resistance buff. But you will still hit 30k resistances across the board, evenly, with this setup. So if someone does have minor buff in the group, you basically cap out anyway. So Nord is solid, but if you want more health and stamina, you can go with Imperial, and your ultis are a bit cheaper. The only difference is you don't have this recovery bonus. So just bear that in mind. Other races are absolutely fine. There's nothing that's going to necessarily break it, but this is chosen on purpose for the resist and the ulti regen. Remember, this is an ulti regen build. And of course, medicinal use, you need this. In fact, you don't. You never heard me say that before. This is one of the most important passives in the game. This will make your 37-second potions last 47. Great, right? Not for us. We don't need it. You can save 3 skill points here because our potions are going to be used every 30 seconds. Now it's time to get to the gear. So, we used to use Dead Water. If we were involved in a kill, we would get 15 ulti per kill. That has been nuked. Now you have to get the kills. We're not going to do that. So what do we do instead? Well, instead of us having the ulti and overkill, constantly casting the same ulti over and over and over, which we do still kind of want to do, but maybe in some situations it wasn't that necessary, especially when you fire 3 Warhorns on top of each other. That's fun, but not needed. Note, by the way, you can use Warhorn for an ulti if you really want to. This is what we're using. We're using Drake's Rush. We're using Decisive, and we're using Stam Poisons. You can use Mag Poisons if you prefer. It's entirely up to you, but these do help you recover while you're blocking. If you don't want to use poisons, put a damage shield on the front, you'll be just fine. Or even a crusher if you really like to. But decisive is what we need. This will give you health, stamina, and stamina. And when you bash an enemy, you and 3 other group members within 15 meters gain major heroism for 12 seconds, giving you 3 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. Now, potion-wise, I mean, you could use minor heroism pots and stack with that, but we don't really need to. Skill-wise, you could also change one of these to put heroic slash on and benefit from that as well. But again, we don't really need to. It's going to be overkill already. But this ulti that you generate every 1.5 seconds can also gain an extra ultimate because of decisive. Our every 1 second 3 ulti regen from doing a light or a heavy attack once every 8 seconds. That can benefit from 1 extra ultimate every single time. Each body we scoop up can count for an extra ultimate every single time. Also, our Nord passive can count for an extra one as well because we're generating ulti from that. Every single thing that we've got to generate ultimate from can give us extra. And when you're draining within Exhilarate and Drain, that can also do it if you choose to use that skill. Every single thing that we do because of this trait has a chance to apply faster ulti regen. Again, this is for your group. Sword and board, or one hand and shield, on the front bar. Front, not the other one. This is a durated effect. It lasts for 12 seconds, and you've got an 18-second cooldown. All you have to do is bash a target. There's a 6-second gap. That's it. This is very fast. Your group will be throwing out death royalties left, right, and center. Back bar. Why are we using execute at low health and not focusing on killing it, but focusing on spamming it? Asylum, great sword. You do not need perfected, by the way, but if you do, you'll have extra stamina, whatever. If you have the regular version, the bonus is the same, you just don't get the stam. So you can go on normal. Note, by the way, Vet Asylum Sanctorium, or normal, doesn't make a difference. The trial guide is now live. I'll put that in the description. When you deal damage with reverse slice, or reverse slash, you generate up to 12 ultimate based on how much execute bonus damage it dealt. So, scaling off of your skill based on its peak bonus is where this will kick off the most. Either one of the skills is fine, the single target one or the AoE one, but this will only affect the target you're hitting. So the lowest health target you can see, if it's safe to do so, keep smacking it with that and you will get ulti, 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 ulti every single hit. Obviously, the lowest stage of the enemy's health, you will get the most out of it. You'll actually get 12 every hit. Prior to that, you maybe get 11, 10, 9, 7, whatever. But while it's low health, very low, you can spam this, drop an ulti, spam this, drop an ulti while keeping up the rest of your stuff, and once every 18 seconds, bashing a target. So this is for you. This is for your group. This is also for you. We're using Bloodspawn, Helmet and Shoulders. If you take damage, you have a chance to gain extra resistances, which will cap us out. Doesn't matter. But you can get 13 ultimate, and that also applies to Decisive as well. If your shield is down, we've got a stam recovery. That's nice. But the ulti regen is mental. 13 from this, if you're lucky, once every 5 seconds. 12 from this every time you hit the bloody thing. You get 3 every 1.5 seconds for you and your group just for bashing the target. We have ulti regen here from every time we scoop up a corpse, including the bodies that we take. We have ulti regen in our passives for if we scoop up a body within 16 seconds. We have ulti regen from here if we use a drain at the time. It depends on whatever you want to do, whether you want to drain this or keep hitting this. This is actually a bit stronger depending on the health. This is more for when they're higher health. All the resource gain as far as ultimate is concerned is mental, and they all stack up. And this is decisive, by the way, which means on the back bar you're going to have an even higher chance of turning that 12 into 13 and everything else to stack with it as well. But this combined is nuts. Up against a target dummy, just messing around, you can put a block ulti on top of a block ulti. Inside content, when you've got stuff at execute range and you're getting hit, it's stupid. Absolutely stupid. You can fire Warhorns, Malcolms, Res ultis, whatever you want. The other set, of course, is Arcasis. This is stupid and was on the previous update. Nice armor bonus, making it easy for us to cap out without any extra traits. Health bonus, giving us loads of max health. And when you drink a potion, you and 3 group members gain 44 ultimate each. Once every 30 seconds. Every single one of these traits you can alter if you wish. We've gone for max health, so infused on the large stuff, so head and chest and legs. And everything else is sturdy here, and then 2 divines. The shoulder and the belt, we've gone divines. If you don't want the extra health, you can drop a couple hundred and you can turn these 2 into sturdy instead. If you want, you'll still be in a very, very good place. But these are all focusing on our flat stats and ability to block rather than our resistance, because our resistance is up. Now the jewelry is where it really starts to make sense. we're actually using 3 pieces of jewelry, and one is healthy with mag recovery, and the other 2 are potion cooldown reduction with infused, giving us a 16-second cooldown on our potions versus what it should be. It should be 45 seconds. Now it's 29. This has to be applied every 30 seconds. So when your potion is grayed out, obviously you can't cast anything. You can't use it. Once your potion has finished, count 1 second, then pop it again. You don't need medicinal use because we're firing our potions off our cooldown, and if you do pay attention to this, every 30 seconds you'll give your group 44 ultimate, and every time you bash this, once every 18 seconds you'll be giving them ulti all day long. Your group runs in dungeons are going to be very, very fast, and in trial situations, if you do use this in there, the people closest to you are going to benefit very, very well indeed, especially if you've got to split up into 2 groups and your group has got really cheap or fast-paced ultis. Even if they haven't, even if they've got expensive ultis, at least they can build them nice and fast. Very, very useful indeed. Pay very close attention to your mechanics to be able to utilize stuff like this, but make sure you don't block on this bar, block on this one. Now, champion points. Now, champion points are very simple. They look scary, but they're not. Craft tree, everything's quality of life. This is in combat, and this is your fitness, so dodging, blocking, break free, all that kind of stuff. This is simple. Regardless of what level you are, the main thing that's going to change your build, once you're done, is your 4 slottables. Up the top, you've got green, blue, and red. There's 4 each. You decide which ones to take per situation. That's it. Now, for us, it's very, very straightforward. We don't really need any damage. We don't really need any healing, apart from our own heals. We just need to make sure we're tanky. Now, the white ones, these ones here, are not slottables. These are unlocked to make sure the trees unlock, and they're inevitable. They're going to happen. When you hit a certain champion point level, you're going to actually max all these out. You will have every single one. You'll have all the damage. You'll have all the shiny stuff here. You'll have the lot. But what do you need to do for this build? This is what you need to do. You need to go into here. You need to put 10 points in there. That will then open up these trees. And as you can see, all we need, once you can max this out, because obviously it's going to give you lots of bonuses to resistance and shit like that. You need Jeweler's Rebuff, which means single target damage is less to you. You want Enduring Resolve, which reduces damage taken from damage over time, which also stacks with Necro abilities. You want Unassailable, which reduces damage of area of effect abilities. So we've got Direct, damage over time, area, and then this. While you have a shield or frost staff equipped, you have higher resistances. We've capped out our resistances almost. We've got reduction to damage from all types here, and we've got reduction to damage from all types here. Easy peasy. So, 10 points in here to unlock your 4 slottables and get them as soon as possible. Make sure you max this out before everything else, because that's flat damage reduction. That's it. There's nothing to it. The rest of it, yes, as a player, you can unlock every single one of these, and you can have all the nice passives, but you don't need them straight away. You just need your slottables. On this one, same applies to some extent, but these are actually a lot easier to get. You don't have to unlock them. They're already there. You want Boundless Vitality, which will increase your max health. You want this to increase your armor, making our cap out very easy. And you want this to increase your recovery. Then you want to focus on this, Survival Instincts. So you need 15 points in here, 10 here, and then you're done. You've got it. 25 points will open up this. Your 4 slottables are your main concern. Everything else is important over time. It will increase the performance of your character, especially when it comes to block and block costs and dodge roll and all that kind of stuff, but this is inevitable. Get it at your own pace. I would advise you to go for this quite early on though, because that is more health. But it's very straightforward. And the green stuff, this is not really combat based, but in content, you definitely want to get the armpit buff because that stops you using soul gems on your weapons. But at the same time, you want to make sure you've got Treasure Hunter so that you get better quality items from chests. You want this, which will increase your duration of your food so you don't run out so quickly and don't waste so many resources. This will have a chance to not even use a potion or poison, and we are using a lot of potions. Free ones are great. And then you want increased movement speed while you're not in a fight. These are all choice driven. It's entirely up to you depending on where you are. They aren't really based on combat, but these are the 4 most useful while in content. So now that's out of the way, now we need to discuss application. How do we make this work? Very simple. Keep up your resistance buff. Because your pet's now cheaper, keep up your pet. Now, maintain taunts on targets. When they come in, if you pull them in, for example, and they're now all at your feet, make sure you put down your immobilize and empower your group's strength. Their light attacks and heavy attacks are stronger. And then whenever there's a body, scoop it up. Now that you've done that, bash equals major heroism. Potion equals more ultimate. Drop your ulti, rinse, repeat. All you have to do is maintain your taunts and block the big stuff. Now when you're on your back bar, if the enemy is low, if you can survive without killing yourself, if they are low health, all you need to do is light attack, hit, light attack, hit, light attack, hit. Make sure your buffs stay up. Obviously keep your group buffed. Maintain taunts. Give him some more. Now, at the moment, he's not in execute range. We won't get the benefit. But if he is in under 50% health, go around 25%, actually, it's a bit better. Then, of course, you are going to benefit from that. And just as an example, I'm going to drop Malcolm. Then, I'm going to bash the target, scoop the bodies, pop the potion. I am already sitting on 71 ulti, and it's growing. How cool is that? Now, if you're actually in combat and you're getting hit, Bloodspawn can go off, your Nord passive can go off, and of course, you've got this drain here, which is mental. So, very, very fast-paced ultimate regen. You can get it really, really quickly. So, you can actually drop a Malcolm, and during its major vulnerability phase, you can actually drop another one. So, it depends on your group, it depends on whether things are going smoothly or not, but if you've got lots and lots of bodies, you build so bloody fast. Now, I said I was going to show you some other stats, so of course we want to make sure that we've got some ultimate, so you can see the shiny stuff. Check this. Resists. On. Big boy. 1.5k mag recovery, 97.6k health. How bloody cool is that ultimate? Enjoy it. So, keep up your taunts, keep up your buffs, have fun. Now it's time for fashion. Simplest fashion in the world, this one. Every single one of these is dragon bone. The whole motif, everything is heavy dragon bone. And the weapon and shield are actually Lord Warden. So if you did get the monster set, great, enjoy it. If you didn't get the monster set, hopefully that'll come back sometime soon. Failing that in between then, put whatever you want on. And the back bar is of course Lord Warden as well. The whole setup is Lord Warden, axe and shield, Lord Warden two-hander, and dragon bone everything else. Very necrotic if you like. Now, the colors we're using are actually Warrior's Steel and Void Pitch. Now, Warrior's Steel is used on all of the bone armor type stuff on the first slot, and Void Pitch on everything else. That's about it. So hopefully that helped, hopefully that wasn't too boring, hopefully you now have a better understanding of how to approach this particular build. It will take a little bit of practice to get to grips with because there's a lot going on. It's very straightforward in most senses, but there's so many different ulti regen sources coming in. You can get overwhelmed quite quickly, but then you just fire another ultimate, don't you? Have fun with it, of course. Thank you very much for watching. I hugely appreciate the support. If you are not subscribing already, please do hit that button. It is free. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when videos are going to go live. No public spoilers. You'll have to wait and see when they come out. But if you want to help support the channel outside of YouTube, and if you want early access to some of the stuff as well, there is a link for Patreon in the description below. Also, there's a link for Facebook, Twitter, and of course the website, xynodegaming.com. Don't forget, I also stream on Twitch every single day except Wednesday from 10 PM UK time, unless I say otherwise on Twitter. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.